All right, Gator, this is a story that just broke as we opened the show, and it's one that I'm intrigued by. I'm not more intrigued what Detroiters will say than I am intrigued in the player. And I'm a little surprised that this has happened.
Just a couple days away from free agency. So.
Yeah. The Philadelphia Eagles have granted Darius Slay permission to seek a trade. According to Diana Rossini at ESPN.
Well, the Eagles have a ton of players that are free agents.
Mm-hmm.
And the Eagles are also trying to free up some money so they can give Jalen Hurts a long-term contract. So maybe that's as simple as that. And if you're Philadelphia, if you look at what you've gotten out of Darius Slay, you've gotten a lot since he's been there for whatever it is, 3-4 years he's been there. He's been great. He's been a Pro Bowl player.
Mm-hmm.
But did he start to take a downturn this year? And I think most people would say yes, that he started to show his age a little bit. And if they're seeing it, they want to get ahead of it. And what you can get is draft capital. Darius Slay, if you were to rank Darius Slay among the free agent cornerbacks, where does he rate? I mean, he's up there, right?
He's up there, but here's the issue. At Philadelphia, let me read his cap hits since he's played there. In 2020, his cap hit was $4.3 million. In 2021, it was 6.6. Last season, it was 9.7. Darius Slay's cap hit this coming season is $26.111 million. Now, how much of that is bonus and restructure and all that? His base salary, this is his base salary, because you're always responsible for the base salary. So a team trading for him would have to pay the base salary.
Yes.
His base salary in 2020 was 1.05. His base salary in 2021, 1.075. And his base salary last year was $1.12 million. His base salary this coming season is $17 million. So any team trading for him takes on that. Would I pay $17 million and give something up for Darius Slay? And the answer is no.
Okay. Well, compare that to Jalen Ramsey because they're the comparables.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've talked ad nauseum about would you trade the 18th pick overall for Jalen Ramsey, and lots of people say yes. I think we're pretty split down there.
Yep.
Which player is better?
I would take Jalen Ramsey over Darius Slay.
I think I would too, but I don't know if there's a whole lot of difference there. I think both players are on that other side.
Jalen Ramsey's base salary this year is $17 million.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And next year, and Jalen Ramsey's got a potential out, but then goes to 14.5, then to 15.5 over the next 2 years. I would rather have Jalen Ramsey and Darius Slay. I don't know. There's great familiarity with this player, obviously in Detroit. Age. Jalen Ramsey is going to be 29 this coming season, and Darius Slay is going to be 32. So that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Is every player is different, and it's not a hard and fast rule that I would 100% abide by. But typically, corners start to decline after the age of 30.
Yeah, I like Darius Slay, but I think that he's starting to go on that other side of his career, and I think Philadelphia is recognizing that too. So if Philadelphia is trying to do a lot of different things and freeing up money is one, this is a way to do it, and then you'll get an asset for it. I mean, would you give up a second-round pick for Darius Slay?
Probably not.
I mean, because the contract is just one more year, right?
Contract is just this coming season.
Yeah, so it's basically a rental. All right, so then you start asking how far back would you go? Would another team give up a second-round pick for him? Perhaps.
Do you know what this feels like to me for the Lions? If and only if. It feels like an emergency break glass situation. Swung and missed at free agency. Draft didn't produce what you wanted. You know, you hope to get your corner at 18, and the corner you wanted is gone. And now you're like, well, there's Darius Slay.
Well, if you answered the question where you said you wouldn't give up a second-round pick, then you wait it out. You let things play out through the offseason and see what happens. If he ends up not getting traded, like because nobody's offering what Philadelphia wants, then you got some leverage going into post-draft time about what you do. But I think it's calculated by Philly. I get what they're trying to do because their whole team. I mean, their defense is decimated right now in the offseason. You're talking about Hargrave and Fletcher Cox on the defensive line. They've got a linebacker that's in a free agent market. Bradbury's on the free agent market. And they have their safeties on the free agent market as well.
Yep.
I mean, that's a ton of guys from your defense that were all starters that aren't coming back more than likely. I mean, you got to make decisions on who you want to bring back if you're going to be able to afford them. But those are all higher end type free agents.
This is a salary dump. They're losing a lot of players, and they got to get something back in return. You just mentioned his salary for Darius Slay. They can't afford to pay him. And I know that just other than just age, there are no signs necessarily of him getting worse because he made another Pro Bowl last year, and he was really good on a really good defense. Now, the age thing comes into play because he is 32 years old, and it could happen at any point where he's just not good anymore, right? Especially at that position. But for a one-year deal at $17 million, and if it's a third-round pick, would you do it? If you're the Lions, if the Eagles just want to get rid of his contract because they got to start signing other players because they're losing a ton of defensive players. They're all in the free agent market, and they're not going to sign those guys. And they need to get maybe any kind of draft capital in return. They got to get free up money. If you're the Lions and you need a corner, a veteran corner who's done in this league, would you do it for 1 year? That's the question I'm asking you and the fans out there.
So, yeah, I mean, to kind of an emergency.
Because
I'm not on the phone with Darius Slay today, but I might be in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, well, month and a half. I might be when we get down to, hey, swung and missed in free agency, swung and missed in the draft.
Because Jalen Ramsey, younger, better, but also more expensive. Right, and more expensive in draft capital because you have to probably give up the 18th overall.
The draft
pick.
capital would more than likely be more expensive, but as far as the price tag, it's 17 this year for 23. It's drops to 15 and 14 the next couple of years. The benefit is you have him for another couple of years. Darius Slay's one and done, which is there's also a benefit to that.
Yeah, you don't want Slay for more than 1 year, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I feel differently about Slay than you do. I think there were signs this year that he's on the other side. He's starting to go down the hill. He's still good, but I think he's starting to go down.
I think the Lions could use good.
Yeah.
Well, without question, he's not. There's not even debate that he's an upgrade over what they have.
Interesting to see what comes of this, if anything. But I don't feel like this impacts. I don't feel like it impacts us, other than, as always, it adds to the supply. And if Darius Slay is the answer to somebody's cornerback issue, somebody else's cornerback issue, that pushes another player maybe to Detroit.
Do you think that the possibility of Matt Patricia joining the Eagles staff has anything to do with this, that they have allowed Slay to seek a trade?
Yes.
Wow.
Because I didn't even think of that.
I didn't even think of
really?
that.
That's one of the first things I thought of. And if that's the case,
100%.
the Eagles are idiots. Because whether you want Slay or not, it should not be, hey, we're going to bring in Patricia no matter what you think.
I think it's a perfect storm for things. I think all the points we brought up of why Philadelphia's in trouble here with all these free agent players and they need to free up money and you think it's a salary dump and this is the last year of a contract. All that makes sense to try to get something before you lose them for nothing and all that. Mm-hmm. And then you drop that bomb. Yeah. Does that play a role? Yeah, I think so.
Wow. Nice dot connecting there. That's some hatred, man. That's potentially some hatred.
No, it is because I don't know if you've seen this, but on Twitter, Quandre Diggs had commented on the possibility of Patricia going to the Eagles. And he knows, obviously, he was teammates with Slay here in Detroit.
And he was ousted by Patricia.
Exactly. So he said that Charles Woodson caught wind of this and said, hey, players are going to play no matter who the coach is, even if you don't like the coach. Diggs retweeted that and said, you weren't there, bro. Basically, This is a different situation. And Woodson was just saying, well, I'm not saying he's not going to like him and all that, but he's going to have to play because that's what we were doing. We're professionals. We play. And basically Slay and Diggs came back and said, you weren't there, man. This is pretty bad.
Like, respect you. You're the GOAT. But,
Exactly,
but stay in your lane on this one. You don't know. Yeah,
Wow.
That's strong.
I mean, can you think about how bad that is? This is a team that went to the Super Bowl. You know, probably some of your most memorable moments with that team.
Matt Patricia is poison. I don't know why you would hire him after what happened in Detroit, and then he goes back to New England.
Yeah.
And even Belichick doesn't want to throw him on the defensive side. Remember, he had him in his, on the offense, calling plays or whatever. And obviously that didn't work out. And then he cast him aside.
And he's not even coaching Slay's position. Like,
just being in the same building is enough.
I can't even be in the building with the guy?
Well, think back. When you had Condre Diggs and Darius Slay, and oh boy, would we do anything to have those guys during the last 4 or 5 years would have been fantastic, right? Because they're really good players. But at the time, wasn't Diggs he was a captain, right?
Yeah.
They traded away a captain in the middle of the season. Why? Because that player and that coach didn't get along. And then obviously you found out more on the relationship with Darius Slay and the coach. And that wasn't working. That was obvious he was going to get dealt too.